Hey there, Donna Hilton here, wishing you a great rest of the day naturally, but wanted to share a story with you in hopes of you growing personally as well as professionally from this story. And so the topic for today's discussion is how to build a reputation. And I took some notes, so I'm going to see my eyes shifting all over the place because I feel that most topics that I talk about, most that I talk about are very important, and I want to make sure that I'm coming to you as best I can and correct as possible, which means you should take nothing at face value and do research on what I say, and more importantly, leave your thoughts and or corrections in a professional way in the comment box to show others and myself that you are listening, as well as making sure that we work with the highest standard as possible. So I thank in advance in a professional way for checking the facts and ensuring that the information that is being delivered is accurate. And we should all do that just to ensure that we're all being the best we can be, as we are all from time to time fall short. So why does reputation matter? And the reason why this topic was brought up was because I received a phone call with some government relations activity. And from a government relations standpoint, the individual that reached out to me said, Donovan, are you aware of a certain situation? And I spoke briefly about it. I was like, are you talking in regards to this situation? And that individual said, yes, that's correct. What are your thoughts, and how do you feel like it has affected the community that you serve, which traditionally are underserved residents and professionals, if you will, traditionally that are of the lower income and are politically deemed minority individuals. And so that's the community that I serve. So in this particular geographical territory, how do you feel the individuals have responded or have received what is being discussed? How's that being perceived from the community you serve? And the bottom line is to get a phone call when it comes to government relations with all humility and privacy, if you will. It's a story for you to learn. The bottom line is, to receive a phone call from individuals that really don't have time for games and are accountable for public tax dollars that come from what one would call your citizens as far as their everyday hard work to support the economy, if you will. It's not, these individuals don't have time. So to get a phone call to say, how do people feel about it, lets you know indirectly that you are building a reputation of being someone that is influential in particular sectors. And so how do you build that reputation to where you're getting phone calls and or you are perceived as someone that is what we call valuable? And there's a lot of moving parts to how do you build a reputation. How do you get those phone calls? Not from your best friend, no disrespect, but that's personal. How do you get professional phone calls from people of the public and private sector asking you your thoughts on true things that matter? And it's not an everyday thing, but if you know my story, I started off just serving as a volunteer to where I've begun to build a business model that allows me to build a sustainable business for myself and the team that I work with to ensure that the mission of increasing the customer base and community presence of the public and private sector clients that I serve are truly being met when it comes to underserved communities, which can be professional career individuals or residents. So, two things to keep in mind. First, you got to get into the position. So how do you get into the position? And two, how do you maintain the position? Now, how do you build reputation? That's the first focus. So keep in mind that your reputation does matter. And if you don't know what reputation means, I congratulate you in advance on going to do some research by stopping by and visiting a dictionary and or going online, typing in the definition of reputation and putting in the comments what the definition means. Thank you, so that we can all learn and grow. So first of all, reputation does matter when it comes to your clientele. And some people are not paid customers, if you will. And that is but everyone has value, which brings me to reputation matters, which means that your character matters, which means that your values matter, which means that your behavior patterns matter. I'll say that again. Your reputation matters, which means your character matters, which means your values matter. Your behavior patterns must then matter. And what this does is this ensures as best you can that you're being productive. Now, to me, productive or productivity is seen as a capitalistic word. So I hope you're writing these notes down. Productivity could be seen, as a capitalistic word, and also could be seen as a masculine trait, productivity. The root word I would say to productivity is produce, to create, to come up with, to deliver, if you will. And so to know that you have a reputation or that you are increasing your reputation, which means that you are producing something or increasing your production in something. A lot of times that word could be used as, or seen as, those words could be seen as value. When you are producing something or increasing the production of something, especially if the demand is high. If you're increasing or producing a supply and you have a demand, that's what generates the flow. So keep in mind that your reputation matters. That means your character matters, which means your values matter, which means your behavior patterns matter, and which makes you productive, which makes you to produce something, if you will. So how do you produce a reputation? Keep in mind, that means your character matters. If you're producing a reputation, that means your character matters. You can't have a reputation without a character. Look the word up, character, and thank you in advance for writing down what you felt or what is the definition of character in the comment box professionally. So you have to have a character, a strong, positive character. And why does it have to be strong and positive? That's another conversation for another time. But you have to have a strong and positive character in order to have a strong and positive reputation. Now, a character, if you even look at the word from a story standpoint, it's a figurative person that we're going to focus on that's going to dictate the timeline and the storyline, if you will, for said information or entertainment, which is the play or the book or whatever have you, the video game, the character. Now, in its root essence, character can also be seen as personality. In its Latin context, mask, which means what is or how will people perceive you? It may be who you really are, it may not be who you really are. You want to try to work in integrity and productivity from a spiritual standpoint as much as you want to from a professional, career, physical standpoint, if that makes sense. So bringing it all the way back, how do you come up with a at least perceived mask that could be operated on a consistent basis, which creates your character as of what people feel you are in order to trust you to have a reputation built upon yourself, if that makes sense. So how do you create this personality? How do you create this mask? How do you create this character which produces the reputation you're looking for? Now, first of all, in order for that to happen, to produce a strong, productive character, which leads to a strong, productive reputation, you have to have a vision. You can't have values. You can't have character, the true values, and those other things without a vision. Meaning, what is it that you desire? What is it that's going to motivate you, inspire you to, again, know what you like to do, what you're good at, what people need, and what people are willing to pay you for. You got to know these things, and you got to really know them when you live in a capitalistic society. When you have to, your survival means producing an income. You want to maximize the 24 hours in your day by producing the highest income through multiple streams of income, through multiple passive streams of income as possible. If you don't know these things, then you're making life hard on yourself, not because you're not trying, it's because you're not aware of those things. And that's not always your fault as to why you're not aware. In some geographical territories, it was illegal to learn how to read, to be taught how to read. So some things are beyond your control. But when you can get to that, especially during a legal standpoint or through an integral standpoint, then that's when you want to take advantage of getting that information. And this is the information. So how do you got to first know your vision. Then once you have a vision of what you're good at, what you like to do, what people need, what people want to pay you for, that vision is going to help you with your short-term choices. Because if you have a vision of where you are going or where you want to end up, your short-term experiences are going to produce the highest output because you're not going to allow the present situation to take you steps further back from where you're trying to go, because we know that time waits for no man and we only have a certain amount of resources. Especially if you play the game Oregon Trail, traditionally they stock you up with the resources based upon the money you have, and those resources have to last you the whole trip. And our trip is our lifetime, and we don't know when that time is up. So we got to make sure that we are moving efficiently as possible. So keep in mind, now we're thinking about what is our vision. What our vision becomes is going to affect our short-term choices, which are going to try to produce the best output to get us one step closer each moment to our long-term vision. And if you're doing something that you like to do and that you're good at, and that you recognize people are willing to pay you for and what they need, you're going to wake up with a little pep in your step to get your day going because you're doing something you enjoy. And so your vision has to be just as much spiritual and personal as it is professional to reach your maximum potential. And so as we get ready to wrap all this up, you have to have a reputation that has a vision that can motivate you to stick to a long-term goal. And that long-term goal will make sure that your short-term choices are best producing the top outcomes that you're looking for. If that makes sense, as I'm just flowing here. This is going to produce success. Success, according to a friend of mine, is going after the things that you have set your mind to and are looking to achieve. And so we're going to stop here. This is not even touching the root of the how do you build a reputation, but we've been able to at least come up with, and I challenge you on focusing on, if you want to build the best reputation, you have to start thinking about your character, how people perceive you, your personality, how people perceive you. Then you got to start thinking about what are your values. In order to know your values, and values are simply what other people deem as a necessity. A value is what other people deem as a necessity. So you're saying, oh, I have value, or this has value. That's great for you to say, but value is only determined by those that are receiving. And no one's going to receive what they don't need. So ultimately, the question becomes, how do you create value for others so that you are receiving what you want just as much as the individual is receiving what they want, because they're coming to you in the first place. And that's said humbly, because we're all trying here. And again, you want to work with integrity, but I'm just sharing a story with you so that if we can bring it all the way back, how do you produce a strong reputation? Because I received a phone call just in everyday general, but I decided to talk about it today based upon my advisors. I want to talk about how the government relations sector reached out to me to get my input to see how a particular experience was seen from a community that I serve. Now that means that I have to be ingrained in the community that I serve in order for me to be seen valuable from a government relations standpoint. And so again, you have to have a reputation, which is a consistent character, which means that you know your values. which means that you have your vision, your long-term vision ready to go, which also means that that long-term vision is making a subconscious effect and action on your short-term, day-to-day experiences and choices, which is your behavior patterns. Donna Hilton, keep in mind I'm the CEO of Hylton Elite Marketing Agency, your full-time sales and marketing firm based in Nashville, Tennessee, helping the Middle Tennessee, actually the North Middle Tennessee sectors, public and private sectors, increase their customer base and their community presence in underserved communities, which traditionally consist of low-income residents, with all due respect, and working residents. Some people like to say low-income residents, but it was originally working community residents, but political words, what can you say? So ultimately, just to give you an idea, these are working communities, traditionally lower income communities that are traditionally deemed minority communities. And these lower income working territories consist of professionals, businesses, as well as residents. So my role and for my firm is to make sure that we're reaching our mission of making sure that the public and private sector that are looking to deliver a message with integrity are connected to the to the underserved communities to increase their customer base and community presence. So Hylton Elite Marketing Agency does that for currently in the North and Middle Tennessee area, and we're expanding rapidly because of our grassroots marketing solutions. Simple as that. So feel free to visit the website, www.e1connect.com. Check out the practice areas that we serve, which include employment recruiting, local and international business development, as well as urban core development. We help those sectors reach the underserved communities to ensure that the message is delivered in an integral way. Thank you, also thank you in advance for clicking the link to donate what you felt this message was worth, as we are, as Hylton Elite, a self-sustaining private business. And the only way for us to ensure that we are moving forward and sustaining and maintaining our business activities is by receiving income. So we thank you for that. And also, just thank you for leaving your comments, your thoughts, and sharing this video. Make sure that you click the link to join the webinar if you have not had a chance to register, as I am giving you business development and community relations expertise so that you can become the best corporate ambassador that you can be. A corporate ambassador is simply anyone in the field of business development, sales, marketing, customer service, human relations, because you're dealing with people. They can be your customers, your vendors, partners, suppliers, whatever have you. If you don't know how to handle and work with people, you're not going to maximize your brand, which can include yourself. So thank you in advance for your donations, for visiting, for supporting, for sharing this information, and we're going to make sure we reach out to you during the next episode to continue how do you build your reputation, because we still got to get into how do you maintain your reputation. Donna Hilton, CEO of Hylton Elite Marketing Agency, reminding you we're more than just marketing.